What is up, everybody? Michael Crump back here again, talking about the latest and the greatest in PlayStation Homebrew news and much, much more. So I have another episode that's jammed packed, so let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. Okay, so the very first one is that we got another update by the one, the only sleirsgoevy, and he released an update to this PS4 JB-payloads. Now, I asked on Twitter yesterday, hey, I've been busy at work and I haven't investigated this yet, but does anybody know what this is? And Control Execute said here, it dumps any executable file except games that are on 4.03. And so this probably isn't anything that's going to be that wonderful for people that are just users of the PlayStation 5, even though it was in the PS4 repo, but definitely something that developers and those that are working on the jailbreaks, etc., could probably take advantage of. Then next up, speaking of PlayStation 5, there was another payload that came out over here by Consoles System. So this tool basically will block the PlayStation 5 updates. Now, we saw this in another video that I had of where you can create a couple of special folders in your PS5's file system in the updates folder. What this does is this creates those files in order to block the update if you run it once, and then if you run it a second time, then it turns it back off. And with the way that the updates are designed on the PlayStation 5, you basically would have to run this every single time you reboot your PlayStation 5 console. So every single time, PlayStation clears out those dummy files that's in the update folder. So in order to block the updates, you would have to rerun this every single time. Now, this may not be that helpful for a lot of folks, especially if you're already using some of the DNS server settings, but it's still out there, and it does show that there is some progress that's being made in the homebrew scene with the release of the PS5 SDK that came out about a week ago. Now, I put out this tweet, folks, please don't start running these random payloads for the PlayStation 5 now that there's this SDK. And I would say for the most part, when you start seeing some of these ELF files appear, I probably wouldn't just go ahead and download them and start running them. You know, they may claim that there's great promises that the thing is going to do, and in reality, it has the ability that it can delete critical files from your PlayStation 5. So definitely a public service announcement. Don't just go and run some of these random payloads that you find on the internet. You could either wait for myself or another trusted member of the scene to verify them first before you do so. Next up, we do have a price for the PlayStation VR2, so it's going to be setting in at $549.99, which is really more than the price of a PlayStation 5 console. Now, it does launch in February, and if we scroll down into this post, we can see that the official launch date is February the 22nd, 2023, and there is what the box art looks like. And there's also a Horizon bundle. There is a additional controller charging station where they can make a little bit more money. And you can pre-order this starting on November the 15th. Now, this does pack a bunch of impressive specifications, 2000 by 2040 per eye, a panel refresh rate of 90, 120 hertz, field of view setting at 110 degrees, bunch of different sensors, 4 different cameras for headset and controller tracking, an IR camera, 4 eye tracking per eye. It is using USB-C, and then there's a few more specifications that is in this. So sound off in the comments below. What do you think? Are you going to pick up a PlayStation VR2 for $550? Or are you going to wait it out or potentially buy another PlayStation that maybe you use just for the PlayStation Network? Let me know. Then back over to Homebrew news. I saw that Z Casual has released this backup mod for PlayStations that are not jailbroken. So this is an example of a backup restoration for a 10.01 PlayStation 4, where it has a number of different custom folders, custom accessible options, some fixed images, and then a new kind of matrix theme. Now, keep in mind that this is really just for a lot of the theming. So some of these examples, or actually a lot of these examples, are showing homebrew applications, which you can't run on that PlayStation 4 that is running a higher firmware than 9.00, but you can add some customization into your PlayStation 4 without having to maybe pay for a PlayStation 4 theme from the store, etc. So again, very cool for PS4s that are not jailbroken in order to bring some sort of customization to them. Then we have over here Lappy again with another tweet, and basically he has released 3 new masks for his popular tool called Icon Mask 1.07. 3 new masks that have been added, a new option step by step to allow you to apply the mask to the icons you want, so you can apply several different masks if you want to. Now, this is obviously stored over here on PKG Zone, so you could come over here and just download the PKG and then copy that over to your PlayStation 4. And here is a screenshot of what that looks like. Then in a bit of PlayStation 4 emulation news, there is a new release that came out with this tool called FP-PS4. So this is basically a PS4 compatibility layer or an emulator on free Pascal. And so this project is basically just for fun. There is some instructions on here on how to build it, some minimum system requirements, and then the PS4 control layout. So if you scroll back up to the top here and you go to the releases here and you download this zip file, then you can extract it and go ahead and start playing a bit with it. Now, if you want to see what that looks like already done, there is a video over here by Brutal Sam, which I'll link to in the comments below, but he has the emulator up and running and he plays a number of different games in here. So here is one that's currently loading up, and I'll just fast forward a little bit here, and you can see in the background there's kind of the console log that is happening as he plays through this game. Okay, so skipping forward, here is another game that is in there. It doesn't look like, for the most part, these are very graphic intensive games. So I believe as more time goes by, obviously you'll see more and more of the maybe more advanced PlayStation 4 games running on this. But definitely worth going ahead and checking out Brutal Sam's video over here if you want to see this in action without downloading it yourself. And then we had another update over here by Spectre. So in case you didn't know, last week there was a PS5 SDK that came out that allowed you to build payloads for your PlayStation 5. And so inside of that, there was a number of folks that were having problems getting the SDK to work. And so Spectre Dev released a tweet here saying, for anyone having trouble building the SDK, Clang 10 and lower emits a .got, which isn't compatible with the current ELF loader. For now, upgrade your Clang if you're having issues. Supporting relocations in the loader is planned but not done yet. So if you are trying to build your own payload, make note of this tweet here because I think it will save you quite a bit of hours. Then in God of War news, obviously I'd already kind of reported that 10.01 is what the base of the God of War game is going to require if you get the disc version and try to install it in your PlayStation 4, that is. But then there is a little bit more information that has come out, and basically it just states that the SDK version that was used with this was 09.508, and that the required system software version is actually 09.6 or 9.6, which I believe this is very good news. We've already had a number of games that were in the 9s that have been backported where we were able to run them on a jailbroken 9.00 system. I absolutely believe that we will be getting a God of War Ragnarok FPKG for our PS4 9.00, really within a week of release, maybe even before that, and to hopefully raise some hopes that I do expect to see a release. Then in PlayStation 3 news, if you're not familiar with PlayStation Home, basically it was something that came out in the early days of the PlayStation 3 and was kind of like this social environment where you could kind of go around and meet people, etc. Well, Sony got rid of it, and so over the last few months, at least that I've been following this story, there is a PS3 developer that's really well known. This is Devil 303. And what they were doing was they took a break from some of the XMB work and started working on PlayStation Home and bringing some of the functionality back while preserving some of the history of the project. So there is a ton of it that is already working, and there is this video that's over here by Devil 303 that shows what it looks like as he has restored it. And so if you have a PlayStation 3 that has custom firmware on it, or it has running HEN, you will be able to install PlayStation Home back on that device and to be able to relive some of those memories from way back in the day. So a very cool project that I'm super excited to see back around again. And so hopefully you get to enjoy it as well. And so that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one. Michael out.